Okay, so let's let the fun begin. All right, so what I've got here is the 4910 XP Mark II that we're revamping. I did the first one I think it was last August, early September, in a desperate attempt to get some hay made before the end of the year, which left me with about 600 acres left in the field instead of 2,000. Yeah, there was a lot of hay that did not get made last year. It was a little bit, or 1,800. I did make quite a bit of progress during the winter, but the first one that I built, I learned a lot about it and how to make it work better. And, you know, that was great. The reason I sold it, and I might as well explain that now, is the reason I sold the other baler was because the size of the bale. Okay, so they're 4x4s. They're 4 feet tall, 4 feet wide, or 47 by 47, or something close to that. Might be 46.5 by 46.5, or some silly thing like that. These old Hestons are, you know, they're just old dinosaurs. This thing only has a stroke of 24 strokes a minute, so it's pretty slow. The new counterpart, Heston counterpart strokes, almost a full 10 strokes a minute faster, which makes it for a faster baler. But you know what? It is what it is, and I got this thing so cheap that I couldn't refuse it. I basically got it for scrap price, and it almost was scrap. If you could see what the condition of this baler was in when I first got it, I've got about $4,000 worth of new parts and pieces into it, not including the labor to rebuild it. Even though it is a fun project to do, it is kind of annoying. I'd rather be chisel plowing, disking, and applying fertilizer for this corn crop that I've got going in the ground here. I'm probably more than likely just going to go hook to the chisel plow today and chisel plow this ground, get it broke up enough so that it dries out when it does dry out. That just has to happen. I'm running out of time. I am literally just running out of time, and I can't be running out of time. I mean, I got to get this shit done. So I'll probably get Timothy to put the 4960 up on the chisel plow and turn him loose on the ground while I'm spraying fertilizer, which should have been done 2 weeks ago and isn't because of the weather. But anyway, yeah, so Cody, he had some work that he had to do at home, and so that's why me, Joe, and Timothy are the ones working on this thing without him. He was doing most of the welding, but that's Joseph welding. He's learning to weld. And I guess I didn't instruct him well enough because he didn't realize that heat would warp that piece of steel that he's welding together, and Timothy had to straighten it back out again. And then he says, you know what, Dad? He says, you're a better welder than me, even though I wanted him to learn how to do it properly. I went ahead and finished it up because I needed that piece of steel to finish it up. So some of the things that I did learn about this baler, or the baler previous to this one, and what I did wrong with that one and not going to do wrong with this one, is quite simple. The diamond plate I used before was 3/16. The diamond plate that I'm going to use now is 1/4 inch. The steel that I'm about to weld in there now, in the video, is 3/4. The steel that I put in the other one was 5/16. The 3/16 inch steel, well, it was 3/16 inch, yeah, it was 5/16. Now, there's a piece of 3/16 by 5 plate steel that has to be welded to take up the gap that I have with that 3/4 inch piece of steel and the 1/4 inch diamond plate. So that has to go in there, and you'll see that, possibly see that in the end of the video. What I saw was there was flexing in the extensions that I had. A little more than I wanted to have. I just don't want to have that flexing. The whole point of this is to create less pressure on the boards, or the hydraulics on the boards, and keep a very uniform bale. So with an 8-foot board, or compression chamber, or bale chamber, there has to be an extraordinarily large amount of pressure on those boards. When you lengthen it, that creates more friction, and it also creates a higher density alleviating some of the need for the pressure that is going to be exerted on the hay by the compression boards. I found that to be quite evident in the beginning with the first one. The first one had 2 sets of hay wedges in it. I will be putting in 3 sets of hay wedges, which really not a big deal. They're designed to have hay wedges in them. At least the newer ones are. The older ones, I don't really think they did. The New Holland had hay wedges in it. The 2000, it had 1 set of hay wedges in it when I purchased it, and I added another set of hay wedges. And what that does is when the bale is compressed in the compression boards, there's always a springing effect. And what happens is when the plunger pushes back on the hay and the bale is forced back, there's some momentum there, and it will force it back to the rear of the baler. And then as the plunger comes off the face of that hay, the hay wants to spring back into the path of the new slice or flake of hay that is going to be shoved up in there to be hit by the plunger again. And if you put wedges in, that will alleviate some of that. Will alleviate some of that compression or that springiness, and it'll make for a tighter packed bale. The whole point of using these balers is to get the maximum amount of hay or straw into one of these balers as you can. That's just the long and the short of it. The more, the merrier. So that's why I'm doing all this work. So those are some of the things that I learned about it. It did work very well. I am going to be putting the plunger face extensions on this one as well as I did on the other one, because it's easier on the tractor and the drive line by doing that, because it forces the hay back an extra 2 or 3 inches in the center, and it leaves a little less pressure on the hay dogs or the plunger dogs, allowing more room for the next slice or flake of hay to go up into the bale chamber. And that will keep it from having, say, a slumped over top bale. Rounded edges. You want nice, tight, square bales. It's better for stacking. It's better for pile or stack longevity. It's easier for the stack wagon to grab these things and move them and stack them if you do it that way. And yes, it is still a 4x4 baler, so I'm still going to have the problems that I had with the other, with forming a stack. So if we're in the same field with a 4x4 baler as we are with a 3x4 baler, you have to have 2 stacks. And that's just the way it is. And probably or possibly when I get back from the Carolinas with the Krone balers, I won't use the Heston baler after that unless I really need to. If something goes down, it's basically going to be a backup baler. But anyways, that's the gist of it. The video is over. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe for more.